Hi, welcome to Nakama News. My name's Jordan Goldie, and this is my co-host Jamie Lawagi. We're here to bring you the news today, and Jamie's going to kick it off.
Yeah, first off, this opening segment is brought to us by Silhouettes. Do you like seeing things accurately and correctly portrayed? Well, too bad. Silhouettes. Well, let's get on to the news then. This week, are we going to find out if a revolutionary hero kills a beloved king? We actually do. Exciting.
Also, studies find that beautiful princesses are 500% more likely to be assaulted at the reverie. If you're a beautiful princess and you want to attend the reverie, please don't. We beg you.
Please don't.
And in the most surprising discovery of the last 3 months or so of One Piece, King Wapol has a wife. Who knew?
The common news, you'll see friendship when you view the common news. Well, everyone lends a helping hand or two. I'm glad you could stick around for a minute now. You're always welcome at the common news.
All right. Goldie, I'm excited. We're here, chapter
Oh, yeah.
1085, The Death of Nefertari Cobra.
Why
Spoilers.
are we excited for the death of Nefertari Cobra again?
I know it sounds weird.
It sounds so dark.
Spoilers ahead for those who haven't read the latest chapter of One Piece. Let's get to it. Are you ready, Goldie?
Let's do it.
All right. So, cover page this week was just another fan request or an Oda drawing. We see Frankie saving a bunch of little hatchling sea turtles, and they're going into the ocean. It's beautiful. I love it. I didn't see anything crazy when it comes to foreshadowing or obvious anything. So, just a
Frankie hasn't
picture.
gotten enough moments to shine. He needed a cover photo.
We need more Frankie in our lives. That's how it is.
Always, always.
All right, let's get to it then. So the chapter starts out. We're in the throne room. We did not cut away. We stayed with it. Thank you, Oda, my man. Like we had seen before, it starts with Cobra, who is absolutely mind blown that there is someone sitting on the empty throne and is breaking like the world's biggest rule. So it's good that we're starting off right where we left off there. And then Emu is on the top of the throne, obviously, and starts speaking. And interesting enough, is referencing himself as Mu. Not sure if he gave himself a nickname. Also, not sure why he's speaking in third person. Also, not sure if he's a
Yeah.
he. I don't know.
Can we talk about that? Because that is, can we just like, for reference, if you were to talk in the third person, if I was to talk in the third person, I'd be like, so Jordan today thinks that we want to talk about One Piece. Like,
Yeah.
how weird is that if you're like sitting there afraid of dying? Like you're Cobra, you're about to die. This dude's just, or person is just
Yeah.
talking in the third person.
It's like Jamie does not prove. Yeah.
Oh man.
Um, Weird, and Mu, that means in Japanese like nothing or void is what's pointed out in the chapter. So I don't know, just with a shadowy void century, nothing like interesting. So I wonder if that's where it comes from. I'm not sure.
Lots of themes.
Lots of themes. Then Cobra says something that's really interesting too. He says that he recalls someone with the name of Imu who was part of the original 20. So that alone gives a ton of information. I feel. I'm not sure your thoughts, but
Um, I mean, it's really hard to say, like, if he literally says he remembers it, what would he remember it from? Would he remember it from, like, his ancient texts?
yeah.
From,
Well, Alabasta is what 4,000 years old in the story, so I bet you they got all those ancient texts or whatnot, or maybe it's in the letter. That's I don't know. Um,
yeah. But if
but
it's, assuming it's true, and it would be weird if he was wrong about it, yeah, that gives a lot away.
not sure. Interesting though. Imu then goes on to sort of answer Cobra's question from last chapter, where he asks like, "What's the meaning of D?" And Emu kind of says like, "Hey, D are our enemies, man. Like we hate those people." Like they're the enemies of the gods, basically, which we already knew. It's been said a few times in the story, but so interesting that Emu's kind of given him what what he's looking for. And then Emu goes on to kind of note some information about Queen Lily that we learned about last chapter too, and how if it wasn't for her mistake or incompetence, the poneglyphs wouldn't have been scattered around the world. And Emu even goes as far as to say the poneglyphs were released. Now I have a theory on this. I'm excited to share it with you.
Okay, let's hear it.
Yeah. This is crazy. So, with the way Emu says that the poneglyphs were released, it makes me think that those 20 leaders, the world government at the end of the Void Century at 800 years ago, had all the poneglyphs, like they had collected them all, and they were going to lock them away or something. But then how do you release these giant, heavy, indestructible objects, you know? And one thing that's been kind of going on in the background of all of this Egghead and Reverie stuff has been Kuma, who's obviously got the pawpaw fruit, which like flings stuff all over the place. My thought is Queen Lily might have had the pawpaw fruit and use that to kind of pop those poneglyphs all over the place and get rid of them. And maybe she was supposed to like put them in a certain spot with her power, but instead she like flung them off, almost like how Kuma sent all the Straw Hats flying at Sabaody. I don't know. Did you think of that?
Or to learn that the world government's been burned that badly twice by the pawpaw fruit.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure about Lily having the pawpaw fruit, but I could definitely see like one of her subordinates having it, and that would make a lot of sense. That would actually make a lot of sense. I do like how you focus on the release part of it, because that means that they had them created. We know they were created in Wano. So the question would be, why did they have them created in Wano in the first place? How did they get to the world government? We're assuming they were up in Marijois, and then how did they release them? And we're thinking, at the very least, they were released by Lily with the pawpaw fruit. That would be awesome.
Yeah. And the Wano has always been independent, and I don't think they were necessarily they've never been allies of the world government that we've known of. So they might have made them on behalf of the ancient kingdom or for whatever reason. And my personal belief is that it's going to be the government or the 20 leaders at that time kind of collected all of them so that the information wouldn't get out. I doubt that the Kazuki clan would at all be kind of related to the bad people from 20, assuming that the 20 leaders were bad, or 19.
Oh, it's so interesting. It's so interesting because, like, why do you think that the Wano created the poneglyphs against the world government's will, or do you think that they were originally created with like approval, and then they were held until they were?
Loaded question. I don't know, man. Like either the poneglyphs were created early on and tell like a story that they wanted to be, or the poneglyphs were created late during the Void Century to keep the story that was told during that time alive. I kind of lean towards the second one. Like there was some, like the world was falling apart, the ancient kingdom was falling apart, people were betraying people, and then the Kazuki clan comes up with the poneglyphs to kind of at least keep the dreams alive for future generations. That's where I'm at, but who knows, man? Who knows?
There's so much fun speculating, though.
I think it's kind of leading up to Kuma dying for whatever reason, because he's already dying.
Well, don't say that.
And I think somehow, wouldn't it be cool if Vivi got the pawpaw fruit, and then she joins the Straw Hats finally? Like that would be sick.
Just trying to imagine Vivi using the pawpaw fruit. She's just like doing cartwheels and just like.
It would be sick, man. I love it. That's like my favorite current theory right now is that she gets it.
It's hard to like visualize other people having different fruits. It really is. Like it took me a while to get used to Sabo even.
Yeah, I still don't. When he calls himself Fire Fist, it still doesn't make sense. Like
Right.
names that move. But let's move on, huh?
Yep.
Um, so Emu like out loud ponders. He's like, unless it wasn't a mistake that Queen Lily did that, and at the same time the Gore say like badass draw their pistols on Cobra. It's like you jerks, leave the man alone. He's in a wheelchair. And then Emu says he thinks that the answer to that question lies within Lily's letter. So he like asks like, how did she sign the letter? And at this point, like Cobra's like, I'm dead. I'm not getting out of this. I'm in trouble. And even the Gorosei tell him that his fate was sealed as soon as he kind of laid eyes on Emu, which to me, maybe that is the Phantom Room that we heard about a few chapters ago that soldiers or world government employees were going missing. Probably that room is my guess, just based off of like the Gorosei confirming, like, oh, you saw this guy, you're dead now. Or it still could be the flower chamber thing too. And then we see Sabo is hiding in the back of the room listening. So kind of his introduction to kind of spying on Emu and what he saw is finally kind of revealed. And we know that in the current story, Sabo is telling this whole thing to Dragon. So he really picked up quite a lot of information from this reverie.
Yeah, he did. So when he came back, were you thinking that he was gonna have seen Emu?
Yeah, I think so because when right before he gets blown up at Lulusia Kingdom, he's like, and I saw someone sitting, I think he references that someone was sitting on the throne or something like that. So I expected that he saw Emu, and I was waiting for this. So,
Oh gosh, especially when he said, I was convinced when he said, um, "We can't tell anyone else because it'll put their lives in danger."
hmm yeah, no, that was big time too. Obviously, he knows the significance, and we learn more about that at the end of with this chapter, what happens with Cobra and stuff. Kind of the significance that all the information he has and the importance that he tell Dragon to, and also Luffy and Vivi. But
Yeah.
so then it goes back to Cobra, and he reveals the answer to Imu's question, which he says it was signed by Nefertari D. Lily. How crazy is that, man? Imu immediately reacts to the D, like you see a little panel of his face, like he's not happy. And then Cobra is stabbed by like a devil tail and arrows. He gets stabbed from his left, and immediately. So come on, guys, let the man talk.
Man, so
Um,
we don't know if this is an arrow or if it's a tail or if it's a I think it's one of the Gorosei. I think you also think it's one of the Gorosei. Is that right,
yeah,
Jamie?
I do. Yeah, I mean, it was when the early spoilers came out. It sounded like Imu was firing shadow arrows at him. But this to me, with the location, it's coming from Cobra's left, which we knew there was like two or three Gorosei over there. So I think it's one of their abilities that's getting them, and it looks like kind of a cartoon animated devil's tail, and that's kind of where I'm at because the next scene, Sabo rushes in, does his Fire Fist attack on everybody, just tries to like, I'll take matters in my own hands, just kill all these people. Um, and then we see Imu transform, and like he's got like this giant mouth and just eats the fire. Like, bro,
That was crazy. Okay, he looks like a monster in that picture. Um, I saw like a
doesn't look
fan
real.
colored panel, and it looks like oh gosh, what is it? Wasn't there other shadows that would eat things in One Piece before? Where were those? Was that wasn't Moria?
I don't know. The shadows I can think of were Morio, Gecko Morio shadows, and Luffy eats those shadows. Like, they just like
Oh
stick them
gosh,
in them, and then you see
all
like
I know is
that Thriller bark afterwards, the big shadows.
the dude went from normal looking human silhouette to like sharp teeth monster eating fire in a second.
Yeah, and then we also see the next panel where like Sabo is standing in the middle, and all the Gorosei have transformed into they're silhouetted monsters, but they all look like shadows at this point, you know. And um, so there's five of them, and then it's not clear to me if the one and we'll flash like an image of this so people maybe know what we're talking about. But there's the one panel where there's that giant shadow monster kind of crawling down from the top, and that seems to be like where Emu was sitting. So my thought are that's him. And at first look, I was like, well, that I only see four in the panel. But if you look really closely on the left side of the panel, there's the obvious like there's the one with the horns, and then there's the one with kind of the thing around his neck, almost like an awakened Zoan devil fruit, kind of like Lucci
Yeah.
and Luffy get. And if you look really closely between them, you can see a little area where it looks like someone's getting cut off. And in the next image, it doesn't show the big guy in the background, but then it shows kind of the blob monster one on the left side too. So my guess is the thing coming down from the throne was actually Emu, and that's looks terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see the three Gorosei. One of them is the one with the horns. One of them is the one that looks like a giant amoeba with a big mouth. And then the other one is, I believe, the samurai guy with the big sword. He's the one with like the cloud thing going around his neck. That's the left side. And then the right side, obviously, we got like a bird guy. And then, yeah, I forget what the other one kind of looks like.
Oh man, they look like blobs. They
You
look
can
like
kind of see
blobs.
that last one on the right side. It's I think it's the mustached guy because it just looks like a very large version of his mustache, and then he's got like little wings or ears up top. So who knows? Who knows
So
what
my
these will
question
be?
is, do we think they're all Zoans? And did we see this? Did you see this coming? Did you think that all the Gorosei were going to be monsters?
I used to never. Well, I don't know. I went back and forth if they were going to be end game stuff or just kind of governments, snobs, But I'm not sure. I didn't really see it coming. I definitely didn't see this type of reveal coming. I thought they were going to have like, I thought Emu was going to have the water fruit or something crazy. Um, you know, some Logia, but now everyone's kind of thinking like, do they just have mythical Zoans? Is this another type of power altogether? Is it some weird combination of Conqueror's hockey and whatever that makes themselves actual devils? I bet you some of them are going to look goofy. I can see at least some of those are going to end up looking really goofy, kind of like yeah.
Yeah, we're
I
gonna
don't
get the
know.
reveals, and they're gonna look way different doing their
Yeah.
blob forms.
Do you have any
But you
crazy
definitely see
theories?
a bird. You
Yeah,
see some.
yeah, yeah.
Oh
And you can
gosh,
kind of
it's
make like a
crazy,
mustache for the one guy and the cloud around him. But do you have any crazy theories on what these powers could be, or if there's something not devil fruit related?
man. I mean, if I was gonna bet, I would say mythical Zoan, just because they all transform, and that's the one thing that Zoans have in common that's different from everything else. Um, and it looks like they all transform. So the question is there other powers that mythical Zoans can have on top of the transformations? Like, can you have a combined like more than one type of devil fruit? Like that, like
Hmm.
that's my thing. Is Blackbeard's kind of experimenting with having more than one devil fruit? Can you combine multiple devil fruits?
Yeah.
Do the Gorse know that? Is that something Blackbeard figured out from the world government? Like
Oh,
that's
yeah.
my big question.
I think my hope is that, uh, yeah, maybe the Gorosei have the mythical Zoans, and I think that's very probable. I hope that Emu has some special thing. Like I hope he has like the original devil fruit, like where it's just like the devil fruit, or something more unique than just a mythical Zoan, or maybe like the kind of the natural rival to Luffy's sun god fruit, something like that. It would be really cool for that to be kind of Emu to have a really special unique, because this seems to be the final, like the big last
Mhm.
boss.
Yeah, this is we got like for the longest time I thought it was going to be Blackbeard, but now we kind of have the big bad of One Piece after how many 1100 chapters.
And I think the devil fruit almost makes a little sense, because Sabo then goes on to say like, I didn't know hell was here, like, or that I was in hell. So obviously some demonic stuff going on. And
Yeah, Sabo was really like. I'm hoping that we get a little more of him talking to Dragon and Yvonne and getting a little of their reactions. See if we can get a little more from this because it's super interesting. And well, I mean, when he says hell, it's an empty throne room with swords where monsters are trying to kill people. But is there more to it than that? Is there anything else that we can think of that's like that would resemble hell?
no,
I don't
I'm
know.
not sure. Have you read kind of the message from Oda when he used Chat GPT? Did you read
No,
that?
I haven't.
Okay, so there's a story going around, and I think it's true. It's from Sandman on Twitter. That's where I saw it. He does a lot of the translations and stuff from Oda's interviews, and the story somewhat. I'm just kind of summarizing it. Is Oda was messing around with ChatGPT, and he asked him kind of how the next phase of One Piece should go, or how it's going to end or whatever. And ChatGPT started writing this story about the final villain revealing themselves as a shadow monster and using shadow powers to kill everyone.
Oh
And
no.
it would not be that surprising to me if Oda got inspiration somehow through the powers here from like ChatGPT and was like, "Oh, I'm gonna use that."
I hope not. I hope Oda has been planning this 30-year story a little longer than that. But we'll see.
Yeah, I feel like he plans it, but he leaves room for like creative growth, and that
Mhm.
maybe just utilize that. That'd be cool.
That would be cool.
Let's see. Let's move on. Sabo. We see the exact instance where the transponder snail snaps the photo of
Yeah.
Sabo standing over Cobra. So we get the scene finally. So that's good. It just I wasn't sure we were ever going to get that. Um, Sabo's like saving Cobra now, and Cobra recognizes Sabo. He's like, "Aren't you Luffy's brother?" And Sabo's trying to like carry Cobra out of there and escape, but Cobra's like, "I'm dead. I'm also dead weight. You're probably not gonna be able to escape with me. You need to leave me and get out of here yourself. But I need you to send a message, tell a message to Vivi and Luffy, and I need you to tell them that the Nefertari share the D, like we share the D name with you." So that's pretty cool. To me, that says Sabo's going to run into. He's going to have to complete this quest. So I don't know if he's telling Dragon this now, and then he's going to go like, I got to go find Luffy or Vivi. Um, but at some point in the story, he's going to have to meet with them to carry out kind of Cobra's final wish.
Yeah.
Um,
So how do we think Sabo gets out? Because he's still got to get out of this castle.
well,
Like he's got.
I guess they don't necessarily show it, but I mean, I'm guessing he gets out with the Revolutionary Army, or
It's got to
I'm
be.
I'm not sure.
I
That's
think
really
they'll
an
want to
interesting
go.
question, because we see him after this, and he's on Lelucia Kingdom, but so are all the Revolutionary people there too, or near it. So he must escape with the Revolutionary Army. That's my guess.
Man, this dude's literally been to hell and back now.
It's like Impel Down, we get a quick flashback, kind of about Sabo and the D name, where he's pointing out to a young Ace and Luffy, that why do they have this D in their name? What does it mean? And classic Luffy Ace, like they're like, I don't know, we don't care. but then they're like, we can give you one too, Sabo, and so they're like they call him Sad Bull or like
Sad
Sad
Bo,
Boy,
Sad Bo.
and he's like, why'd you put her there? What are you doing? But yeah, I feel like this raises some questions of what the D name is. Is it something that anybody can have and you just give it, or is it something that only can be passed down from members that were kind of opposing the world government way back when? It might be a mixture of both, probably.
I think at this point it is, because it just seems like people were handing it out willy nilly. But to get it started, everyone had to kind of agree on it initially. So do we think the will of D is now just whatever Lily wanted to happen when she released the poneglyphs? Is that kind of what we're going with at this point? That's kind of what I'm thinking. Is the will of D was Lily's will, either that or Lily and Joy Boy's will.
Oh yeah, no, I think you might be sniffing something good there. That the will of D was like Lily's will that's been passed down, which is probably whatever is on that letter that we don't get to know. So, or yeah,
We learned a lot. We learned a lot.
we learned a lot. We also learned nothing. I don't know.
True.
But back in the current scene, that same tail that stabbed Cobra earlier on stabs Cobra and Sabo this time, and it looks like it does significant damage. And keep in mind, I know Sabo's carrying somebody, but he's still a Logia Devil Fruit, and it pierces him. His eyes go white, like it's a significant attack just from this little tail. And then Cobra's kind of making his last stand, and I think it's a powerful panel because Cobra's been in a wheelchair, been obviously sick, and he's getting older, and he's kind of like standing up now, reciting the letter from Lily. And we only get to see a part of it because it's covered up by a roar from one of the Gorosei, I think. And what we can get out of it, at least the translation scans, is it says protect the poneglyphs, and then there's the roar. We don't know what it says between there. And then it says protect or fly the flag that heralds the world's eventual dawn. So, and then it's signed Nefertari P. Lily. I don't know, man. There's a lot of theories on what the D stands for or what it is. I'm currently in the. I know a lot of people think it's dreams or dawn or whatever. I feel like it's got to be a symbol still. Like it's either going to be a half moon, or it's going to be a rising sun, or it's going to be a smile, like how Luffy smiles with that big kind of D looking smile. And there's an interesting interview with Oda in one of the SBS segments where one of the first times that he acknowledged the D, the fan said like, "Hey, what's the deal with this?" And he's like, "Oh, we'll get to that later. Glad you pointed it out. For now, just call it D." Almost like when we find out what it is, we either won't pronounce it as D, like it's going to be a symbol that just is a symbol, not a D, or it's going to have more significance. But yeah, do you have any wild D theories?
Oh gosh, the D is what is the will of D? I've thought about that so many times. I think that my favorite one, and this is probably not going to be right because I like your theory more, but my favorite one is that D actually stands for devil because they're the enemy of the gods. And
Yeah,
like, so it would just be like everyone's just going to become a devil. We're going to put a D in our names. But I could still see the smile. I like the smile as in the face of darkness kind of thing.
my favorite one is like it's dawn, but instead of like the word dawn, it's just the sun dawning. Like it's like the sunrise, and that a sunrise almost looks like a straw hat. If you like kind of look at the side view of a straw hat,
right? You get that.
so that's where I'm at. We'll probably be way off. We've been talking about this for what, 12 years, me and you.
At least.
But
Oh
I
god.
have a hard time believing it's just a word because then either Oda has to use an English word for all the different languages that One Piece is in, or he has to come up with a word that is the same meaning in every. It just seems like a lot. So that's why I'm more of a symbol, but the symbol could be
Mhm.
gone too. So I'm not sure.
I'm with you. I'm rooting for that. Do you have any ideas what's covered up by the RAR?
Um, Everything. I think that is going to be the because it's protect the poneglyphs and then fly the flag that heralds the eventual dawn. I think between that is protect the poneglyphs from this so that we can protect our history because this it's that nugget that we need that we just don't have. So do you
Hmm.
have thoughts on it?
The poneglyphs must be protected, and there's a word in between protected. There's got to be something in between.
Yeah.
Like the question is there more than that? Because we don't know. It's just a speech bubble, right? So there could be more in between that was covered up by the RAR than is being implied here.
Yeah, and
Um,
I don't think it necessarily have to take it at face value that there's only going to be just a little bit covered up. I think it's just kind of
mhm,
symbolizing that they roared over him while he was saying that part. So
mhm. Yeah,
there's
that's
probably
kind of what I was.
some big reveal.
That's
Who
what I was trying
knows?
to say. I don't think I have anything good. This is awesome stuff though. We've been waiting decades
I'm
for this.
all out of ideas, man. I feel like I'm just there's too many things to speculate on. You know,
There is, and then we go from that crazy scene to something else. Did you add? Do we want to move on, or do we want to go to
Wait,
trivia?
trivia, man. Let's do some
Let's
trivia.
do some trivia. Hey! We haven't done
Hey.
trivia today. All right, let's get a move on into trivia. Who went first last time? Did you go first last time, or did I?
I think you asked me a question first last time, so I'll ask you a question first this time.
Okay. Let's go into trivia. Give me a question. Let's see if I can get something right.
Okay. So my first trivia question to you is:
Mm.
we see King Wapol in this chapter. I want
Mm-hmm.
you to tell me how old Wapol is, and I will
How
give
old
you.
he is?
I'll
Oh
give
no.
you if you're within 5 years. I'll give it to you.
Wobble. I've never even thought about how old he is. He can't be that old because he's not. He's. We find out later something about him, but it's not like he has kids that we know of. Um, I think I'd put him at like 25
Wow.
in One Piece years.
He's 29 after the time skip. You get it.
After the time,
You get it.
nice.
Yeah. Ding 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 ding.
I got it. I got it.
Yeah, that's
Finally, I
like
get something right.
bro, I thought he was like 50. Like he's gray haired. This is behemoth dude. I thought he was old.
See,
And
I thought that too, and then I remember that this is One Piece, and he doesn't act that old.
oh,
He's not acting like a
he's
like a
not moving
Neptune
so
or a Cobra.
crazy. Yes. But yeah, no, he's 29, 27 pre-time skip. But so he must have
Wow.
been pretty young when they did the flashback to the reverie, at Drum Island where he smacks Vivi. And
Hmm.
Vivi's a child, like she's like 10, and he's like, Psh, "Get out of my way!" Like, uh, so he was
So
very
he's
young
like
when he was king.
probably 20 back then, yeah. So where? How do we know that? What part of One Piece told us how old Wapol is?
I'm
Can you?
guessing it was one of the kind of information cards that Oda and his editors and the staff fill out. I'm not sure. I don't know. It just was
Okay,
on the One Piece wiki.
got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good
I
job.
got
Good
one. I
job.
got one. I'm happy. I'm
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah. Good job.
I didn't know the actual age, but I'll take it. Let me throw one at you then. So we have seen a lot of admirals lately. Um, can you tell me who the first admiral was that we saw with a weapon?
Uh, with a weapon?
Who was the first admiral to use a weapon?
Hmm. Okay. Okay. So we meet Aokiji first. and Aokiji's not using a weapon, using a Logia. Then we meet a Kainu in the past. Sakazuki's like at the Buster Call. So unless you're counting him using the Buster Call or that, I don't think you would be. Then, as far as I know, Kizaru, who we meet at Sabaodi's, not using a weapon either. Green, it's got to be Fujitora with a sword, right?
Ding 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 ding. Yeah, it is. We see Fujitora in this chapter, kind of a heads up alert, but yes, we Fujitora is the first admiral with a weapon, and I had to do a double take on that. I was like, is that right? Is that right? But
Yeah, they're just all
the admirals.
Good knuckling,
He's also, I think, the first admiral we see that wasn't a Logia. So that was kind of cool. He's really unique in that way.
Unless he is gravity, we don't know. There's a theory out there that Fujitora didn't eat the devil fruit, but his sword did. I don't think that's it, but I love him. He's so cool. I wish we got to see him go all out because his power is so cool.
I hope we do. It's not too late. He likes Luffy.
Not too late. All right, let me ask you a second question.
Hit me again.
All right. So in this chapter, we see Cypher Pool, and remember CP9. One of the characters we meet is Jabra, or see him again is Jabra. I was wondering if you could tell me who Jabra fights, and I'll accept a couple answers. Who he fights during Enies Lobby. And then extra bonus points if you can tell me which power gets used at that time. At
that fight? Well, yeah. Jabra, I don't remember the name of the fruit, but I know that he was a Zoan who turned into a wolf.
Yeah,
And I know that he also fought Sanji. At least that was the main part of his fight. But I think prior to that, he was running around trying to fight like Usopp or something.
Ding, 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 bro, getting everything. Okay. Do you remember the power-up that we see?
The power-up, I think the power-up that you're referring to is Sanji using his first Diablo Jumble. Is that it?
Bro, you are on fire, my man. On fire. Just like Sanji's leg. You are on fire.
You're giving me some fun ones.
No, Sanji, Usopp tries to sneak in because Jabra's like sleeping on the ground with the key in front of him, and Usopp tries to get it but wakes him up. And then at some point, it's a whole thing that goes on. Zoro gets cuffed to Usopp. Your favorite moment happens. Kaku,
so funny.
Like, all this crazy stuff happens, but yeah, Sanji ends up beating him with the Diablo Jambe for the first time.
That's awesome. Dude, Enies Lobby was one of my favorite arcs. That was so fun. Thanks for asking that question.
Yeah, anytime.
Okay, so here's a tough one. I'm gonna be really impressed if you get this. Can you tell me, at least up to now, what we know Sabo's bounty is?
Oh man. You will give it to me if I'm within a range?
Yeah, so I'll give it let's say this. Do you think that Sabo's bounty is over or under 1 billion?
Under.
Ding 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 ding.
Yeah, that was like 500 something. What is it?
602 billion berry.
Okay, yeah.
And I've been trying to find out where we found that, but there's a screenshot of a wanted poster of him at 602 billion berry. But I haven't been able to find exactly where we saw that screenshot of that bounty poster for.
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder if it's at Dressrosa or if it could be to when Sabo's kind of freeing all those nations and becoming the emperor or flame emperor guy during Wano. I'm not sure. Not sure.
Is a magazine. It's the most recent magazine issue. It was revealed about 6 years ago, in 2017. So I've been trying to find like a piece of that from back then.
No, who knows?
It's awesome though.
Cool. Wow, dang.
That was fun.
Let's get on with it. Let's do.
Yeah, let's get back into the video. We did. Maybe we got to make our trivia questions harder. We got them all right.
No, I think we're the right level of difficulty.
Okay.
I don't know if I can handle a step up.
So moving on with the chapter. Now that Neptune is officially dead, or not Neptune, Cobra.
Yeah.
We're moving on, and we see the Gorosei notice something in the back of the room. And when they notice something, we see a little eye poking through the hole.
Keeping calm over there.
We see that's Wapol, and he jumps backwards and he's shocked and he's like, "Oh God, I saw something I shouldn't have.
Yeah.
They're gonna kill me. Like I'm in trouble."
Yeah.
He starts crying, classic Wapol.
Do you think Wapol like tongued a hole in that wall? That's what I want.
No.
How did that hole get there? Did he?
Man, I can't imagine there'd be a random hole in the wall.
Yeah, into the most important one. Like, how did he open that thing? Yeah.
Oh God.
Show me that scene, Oda.
We haven't seen him forever either, and he's just being a coward. He's gonna run away, and then it immediately cuts away from him. So we go to the grand round table in the council chamber, and we hear an announcer state that King Cobra and King Wapol will not be attending. So they're gonna be moving on without him. And we see someone who looks a lot like Abe Lincoln. Remark on Cobra giving an impassioned speech. So gotta kudos to Cobra for getting Abe Lincoln's respect on speeches. So then we see another king kind of randomly, we don't know who he is, state that he thinks the reason they're not going to be, that Cobra isn't attending is because Cobra probably thinks he's already done his job because the dissolution of the warlords has already been approved. Yeah. So we learned that the warlords have officially been disbanded. Makes me worry for our little pirate princess a little bit down over on that pirate island, but she was already in trouble.
She was doomed.
She's doomed. And then we see a reaction from King Riku and King Neptune as they state, as somebody else states, that the coalition of the 4 northern nations is going to be discussed next, and that they're calling for independence. Jamie, do you think we know who the 4 northern nations are? Do we have any guesses? I've been trying to think about that too.
Yeah, I mean, assuming they're from the North Blue, I haven't looked deeply enough into it. I feel like it's more just a reference to the overall state of the world and how people are sick of paying the government taxes and dealing with the world government in general, and they want to just be like Wano or whatever, be independent. Okay. But I can't. Maybe it's related to the nations that are rebelling, because we know 7 nations are rebelling. One of them, there was 8, but one of them was destroyed. So maybe that. I don't know how much to read into it. Did you have thoughts?
No, because it's northern. So unless they're talking about the North Blue, I'm not even sure what North is in this world at this point. So,
One Piece.
And I don't know nations in the North Blue. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see if it comes back at some point, though. Just something to note for sure.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
And that's all there was for that scene. Because then we move off of that, and we see a quick glance at Shirahoshi, and she's kind of just like, well, I wonder where Vivi went off to. Vivi's not here anymore. I miss her. Meanwhile, her brother Fukaboshi is saying, hey, me and you, we're going to get to the Red Port. We're going to take our bros and go to the Red Port. We're going to stay away from the Celestial Dragons. And that was it. That was all we get there. Yeah. She's just like, where's Vivi? And then we dip out. Yeah. And then we go to Vivi. And Vivi is...
Get out of there ASAP, bro. I'm convinced that Charlos is going to revive from the grave and make her his pet.
He's going to unaccordion himself. And... Shirahoshi is just... I've never seen someone in One Piece so constantly in danger.
Yeah.
Out of any character.
She was in danger for every day. From
every scene she is in. She is the imprisoned princess incarnate. Like,
Yes, it's just her whole life's destiny. Yeah, weepy Hoshi. She doesn't cry as much anymore.
true, she's had that little bit of character development. Hopefully, she gets more.
Massive.
But speaking of characters, who we like and are maybe not so quite like that, we got Vivi. She's also in that same situation though, because she's sitting there tied to a chair. She's really mad. She's like, "What's the big idea? You need to untie me." And we see who tied her up, and it was the rest of CP0, formerly CP9.
Yeah.
He's Jabra and Khalifa to start, and they're telling her basically, "Look, you're not gonna. That's not gonna work. It's pointless." And Khalifa gets dark. She's like, "You're probably gonna live the rest of your life as a pet." Like, what? So there's just some dark Khalifa stuff there. And then we see a scene with the whole table of them. So we see all of the people from CP0. We see Fukuro, and we learn Fukuro is Chapapa guy.
Yeah, Zipper Mouth.
I see Kumadori. He's got the crazy hair, and he's like, "Ooh, Chopper fought."
Well, you're starting a line there, brother. I'm just kidding.
Oh God!
But you don't.
Jabra, what's that?
You don't see a couple people.
True. We do. We were missing Lucci and Kaku, and we think we know why, right? Because we saw them on Egghead.
Yeah. They must have left. So do you think Lucci was protecting Vivi for real, or was he the one who caught her?
I mean, it could have been he was protecting her because he was supposed to take her alive. But the Lucci like heart change is hard for me to buy.
I don't buy it. Yeah, I think he's questioning the government more, but he still listens to what he's told, and
he's never had any ambitions outside of just like murdering people and serving the government. So it's just like, anyway, so we're at the table when we got all the members. I was just going over some of them. We already talked about Jabra and Khalifa, and then we have Blueno. We all remember Blueno.
Yeah, that was my favorite fight because it's year 2, baby.
Oh yeah, that's one of the coolest moments in One Piece. And they're saying they start reminiscing about what's been happening, because Vivi's like, "Is Shirahoshi all right?" And they start telling her, and they say, "Yeah, Shirahoshi's fine." But we saw some members of the Straw Hats, Sai and Leo, who were proclaiming their victory over the Celestial Dragons. So we get more notoriety for the Straw Hats, obviously.
Yeah.
Good for them, bad for them, who knows? And then they also note something a little more interesting, which is that Fujitora, whatever he did, he helped the Revolutionary Army save the slaves.
Yeah.
He rescued this. He rescued, I don't know if it was all of them or some of them or what, but he rescued a bunch of the slaves and ticked off Green Bull / Ryokugyu in the meantime.
Yeah.
We're at that name.
Fujitora, you know our boy was like, "Oh, did I do that?" Like Urkel style, like, "Did I drop that meteor there? My bad." Like,
so sorry guys.
I'm so sorry. I didn't even know. Jeez.
I like how the old guy just doesn't give a crap. He just kind of like sometimes it's an accident, but a lot of times he'll just like see something wrong and he'll just fix it no matter what the consequences are. And,
I really like him. I hope we get more Fujitora in the story, and I hope he plays a significant role to like help the world at some point.
I really want a Garp Sengoku Fujitora like team up, and I want them to go do something awesome.
Do you think Fujitora? Do you think the admirals in general know that Imu's a thing?
I think Sengoku might have a clue. Maybe Garp. Yeah. I don't know about the admirals.
Yeah, I don't think they do, because I don't think Fujitora would be okay with that. I don't think he would.
No,
he would not. Yeah.
So, I don't think anyone aside maybe like Fleet Admiral and Legendary Hero have any idea. And even then, I think they're kind of like, maybe, like, we know the Gorosei are probably really bad people, but I don't know about Imu. Like, it doesn't seem like anyone knew about that.
Yeah, no, we definitely knew about Gorosei. Yeah. All right, let's hit me with your favorite part of the chapter.
So, after the Fujitora, we go back and we see Jabber. He goes, "What's the deal with this year's reverie?" Vivi's kind of wondering. She's like ignoring him. She's like, "Shoot, I got to do something." And then suddenly we see Wapple, and he smashes through the wall, eating it. And he's like, "No, spare me! I didn't see anything." He's just crying, and just like that, Vivi's out of there. She's like, "Oh, this is my chance." I still don't know if Vivi grabbed onto Wapple or if Wapple grabbed onto Vivi, but one way or another, in a flash, they were both gone, and Vivi was quote unquote rescued by Wapple. And
Yeah.
as they're getting rescued, Vivi is riding in Wapple's mouth because that's a safe thing to do. And he runs by a woman, and she's just like, "Where are we going?" Vivi's like, "Where are we going?" He's like, "I don't know. We're going to the end of the world if we have to." And the woman is like, "Oh no, is he running away with the mistress?" We find out that's Wapple's wife because Wapple has a wife apparently.
Yeah.
And then the best part is the editor's note right under that. I'm hoping to start a life on the run? Question mark.
Man,
What do you think about Vivi and Wapple being
man,
the new romance of One Piece?
when I texted you, the spoilers were out, and you read them, and then you came back, and you're like, the craziest thing of all, Wapple's got a wife. What? Like, so funny. Yeah, it's hilarious. It's a good classic One Piece gaff. Like it's just good. And for people who like read the manga and follow the story, cover stories, they might have known about Cinderella, but I don't think everyone was super aware or remembered this small character. So uh, funny. Vivi's way out of his league though, but I love that.
No kidding. Oh gosh, that was fun. This was a fun chapter. Um, Jamie, is there anything we want to do before we get out of here? Let's maybe think about some predictions. What do we think is going on? What's going on next? I think we go back to Dragon, and we're
Yeah,
kind of done with the
I think
flashback.
we cut away to Dragon's reaction to the story. I think that it would make narrative sense to get kind of that. Maybe we get a little Kuma update where he's at because that seems to be something that we would maybe get back to. Then I'm not sure. We could go back to Egghead. We could maybe now that we've seen the transformation from the Gorosei, uh, we're a little more worried now with Kizaru and Saint Saturn coming to Egghead. So we might get our first big fight, and it might be crazy. So I
Yeah,
don't know.
I really think we're seeing a lot of parallel stories that are all kind of leading to converge at Egghead. I don't know if you're seeing that, but that just seems like where it's going for me, at least. We're seeing a lot of it. So it could jump back to Garp for all we know. I don't think it's going to, but it's
Yeah,
going to be fun. There's so many possibilities at this point.
if my worry is they're gonna off screen Garp and we're gonna see him. He's gonna be defeated, and Blackbeard's gonna be back there or
Oh,
something.
I hope not.
And I forgot that some of the Blackbeard pirates were going towards Egghead. So um, you got a lot going on. There's a lot.
Yeah, we
All
do.
I know is we've had like every chapter after Wano has been really good.
No,
Like
this is so crazy.
even the boring ones at Egghead have been like there's been some reveal or some cool thing going on, and especially these last 8 chapters, it's been nuts. So we're being spoiled.
We are. We are. I hope it never stops.
A good time to
All
have
right.
it's a good time to have a YouTube account with 11 subscribers.
Heck yeah, let's make it 12.
Give
Somebody help us get to 12 today.
somebody click that subscribe button. Be our 12th, baby.
All right, guys. Thanks for coming and checking us out. Again, I'm Jordan. This is Jamie. We're bringing you the news here at Nakama News, talking about One Piece. You guys have a great day.
One lends a helping hand or two. I'm glad you could stick around for a minute now. You're always welcome at Nakama News. news. Well, everyone lends a helping hand or two. I'm glad you could stick around for a minute now. You're always welcome back. The Common News.